6. Okay, when we were here yesterday, y'all, this is where we left off, okay? So we had talked about how to combine like terms. What we're going to do here, y'all, is we're just multiplying terms together. Let me make sure my microphone is on. Yeah, it's on. Okay. And so, y'all, when we're multiplying, really what we're doing is we're multiplying the numbers here, right? So if I have 5 times 3y, well, 5 times 3 is 15 with a y, right? Because that's the letter that's right next to it. Okay, if I have negative 2 times 4x, negative 2 times 4 is a negative what? Negative 8 with an x, right? Good. So again, when I'm multiplying, y'all, I'm just multiplying the numbers. The letter just comes along for the ride, okay? Now, we have something called the distributive property, okay? The distributive property refers to if you have an expression and a number in front of it, that number gets multiplied by both pieces. Okay, if you have an expression parentheses, a number in front of it or behind it, doesn't really make any difference. Excuse me, that number gets multiplied by both pieces. Okay, so let's try this here. Look, y'all, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go 1 and 2. Well, 5 times x is just a 5x. There's a plus here, so I'm gonna put a plus. Anybody know what's 5 times 4? 20. Y'all, I cannot combine those. They're not like terms. One has an X and one doesn't. So I'm just going to leave them as they are. Okay. What we're going to be doing today and tomorrow, y'all, is a little bit more of the algebra. You can see now we have X's. We have a little bit more variables. This is what we're going to focus on these next couple of days. Okay. Look, let's do the same thing here. Anybody know what's negative 2 times 5? Negative 10. Very good with an A. Y'all, negative 2 times a positive 2 is a negative 4, right? Excellent. Again, y'all, I don't have like terms, so I can't combine them, so I'm not going to, okay?
So if there's like a negative multiplied by negative, it's a positive.
That's right. Yeah, so a negative times a negative is a positive. Yeah.
Positive times a negative.
It's still going to be negative. Yeah. Excellent. Good questions, y'all. So look, let's try the next one. I'm going to go through this in pieces, y'all. I'm going to go one piece at a time. 2 times 3, 6. Plus, what's 2 times 7? 14. Excellent with an X. Look, y'all, we still have a minus 15 hanging out over here. Now, remember, we want to combine our like terms, right? Remember, like terms are like if we have X's, we're going to put those together. If we have regular numbers, we're going to put those together. So look, I have a positive 6 and I have a negative 15. Remember what that means? I have $6, but I owe you 15, right? If I had $6, but I owed you 15 and I gave you the 6 that I had, would we be cool or would I still owe you money? How much money would I owe you guys? And because we owe it, what kind of 9 is it? There you go. Guys, I always think about positive is how much money I have, negative is how much money we owe, because we've all either borrowed a few dollars or lent a few dollars to somebody, and most of us are pretty comfortable with how money works, right? All right. So look, let's try the next one. Again, we're going to go through piece at a time here, y'all. So look, we're going to go 1 and 2. So look, negative 2 times x. Everyone agree negative 2x? Okay. Guys, look, a negative 2 times a negative 5. But we said a negative times a negative is a, and 2 times 5 is? Excellent. Okay, do the same thing here, y'all. 4 times 2x is 8x. And 4 times 2 is? Perfect. Okay, remember, y'all, I'm going to combine my like terms. Look, negative 2x, positive 8x. I owe you $2, but I have 8. Positive 6x. Good. Guys, you can put the plus if you want to, but you don't have to, right? What about the plus 10 and the plus 8? There we go. And you're done. Okay. Y'all, yesterday, I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked me, I just don't remember off the top of my head, can we write it like this? And the answer is yes, right? I think it was you who asked me, right? You can, the order in which you put them in, y'all, is not important. If you put the 18 first and then the plus 6x, it means the same thing, okay? The order in which you write them is not important. All right, so I'm going to continue going on here, y'all, one piece at a time. Notice when I'm looking at this problem here, y'all, I'm going to do the 4 first, right? So I'm going to leave that 10 alone. 4 times 6, anyone know? 24, right? Good. 24 with a D. Minus 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, look, we can combine those there. What's 10 minus 8? 2 plus 24D. Again, if you want to put the 24D plus 2, means the same thing, right? The order in which you put them is not important. All right, so I'm going to keep moving along here, y'all. I'm going to do the same thing here with my 2. I'm going to multiply my 2 to both pieces. So look, there's a 3. 2 times 3x should be a, good. What about 2 times negative 4? Negative 8. Perfect, y'all. Y'all, this x here, can I think about that as a 1x? Okay. The reason I want to think about it as 1x is if I'm going to combine my like terms. Look, 6x plus 1 more is how many? There you go. Okay. Let's see. A plus 3 and a minus 8. Negative 5, right? Boom. And now you're done. Okie dokie. So let's keep moving along here. Let's again distribute 1 and 2. 3 times 5? 15 with an x. Good. 3 times a minus 2? Excellent. 5 times x is a, excellent. 5 times minus 2? Minus 10. Good. Look, y'all, 15x plus 5 more? 20x. Look, y'all, minus 6 and minus 10. Remember what that means? I owe you $6 and I borrowed 10 more. Negative 16, right? Are we okay in how we got the negative 16? Right? Minus 6 means I owe you 6. Minus 10 means I borrowed 10 more. Now I owe you 16. Okay, good. Okay, so y'all, the next part that I have here is referring to evaluating algebraic expressions. Okay, now evaluating algebraic expressions, y'all, when I see the word evaluate, what evaluate tells me to do, I call this plug and chug. Okay, what I'm going to do is everywhere I have the letter X, I'm going to plug in what number? In this case here, look what it tells me. 5, right? And everywhere I have the letter Y, y'all, I'm going to replace it with a negative 7. So look, I'm going to write 3. Where the X used to be, they said put a 5. Plus, where the Y used to be, we're now going to write what number? Negative 7. Okay, let's just do the order of operations. Let's multiply these numbers first. What's 3 times 5? 15. 15 plus negative 7. Remember what that means? I have $15, but I owe you 7. Very good. Positive 8. This is what I mean by, y'all, I call it plug and chug. Everywhere I have an X, I'm going to plug in whatever number they give me. If they give me a number for Y, I'm going to plug that number in, and then I'm going to chug along, okay? All right, let's take a look at the next one here. It says evaluate 2x minus y when x equals 6 and y is negative 4. So I'm going to go 2 times 6 minus, what's the number for y? Okay, so look right here, y'all. I'm going to put a minus 4 right there. Again, we're going to go through piece at a time. What's 2 times 6? 12. Y'all, minus and minus make it positive. Very good. So what's 12 plus 4? 16, right? Good. Y'all, before we go on, are we okay in how we're doing these evaluating problems? Okay, I just want to make sure that we're all good with this stuff here. Again, y'all, if you do have any questions, please speak up. I want to make sure that we're good with this stuff. Okay, let's take a look. See here, it says evaluate 2x minus 3y plus 4z when x is negative 2, y is 5, z is negative 7. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through real slow. 2, where the x used to be, negative 2. Minus 3, where the y used to be, 5. Plus 4, excuse me, where the z used to be, negative 7. Okay, let's do one piece at a time. What's 2 times negative 2?
-4.
Negative 4. Minus 3 times 5? Minus 15. 4 times negative 7? Okay, guys, didn't we say negative means how much money we owe? Okay, so look, if I owe you $4 and I borrow 15 more and I borrow 28, y'all agree I'm going to owe you a whole bunch of money? Okay, let's do this. Let's take our calculator and let's just add them up. 4 plus 15 plus 28 was how much? 47. Good. Negative, right?
So why do you add them to it? You got a whole bunch of subtractions.
Okay, so remember, so again, that's why I want to make sure we're good. So do you agree negative 4 means I owe you $4? Okay, I borrow another 15. So right, aren't I? Think about it like they're bills. I got a bill for $4. I got a bill for 15. I got a bill for 28. How much money do I owe? Let me add them all up. Does that make sense? Good.
Now, when you're replacing like 2x, you put the -2 as the x. They're always going to be
In parentheses. Excellent question, y'all. So if you notice what the question was, anytime we do this plug and chug, whatever I'm plugging in my number, what am I putting around it? Every single time, whether my number is positive or negative, it doesn't make a difference. We're always going to put parentheses. So, and then we'll multiply or do, bless you, or do whatever it is we got to do, right? Good question. Look, y'all, we got another one here. It says x squared minus y when x equals 5 and y is negative 3. So notice, just like she said, y'all, I'm going to put parentheses. What number am I going to put where the x was? 5, right? And it's 5 being what? Squared, right? Yeah. We're going to get to the 25 right now. Minus, what number are we going to put? Negative 3. Good. So excellent. 5 squared, you said, was 25. Y'all agree minus and minus makes it plus 3, which is 28. Y'all, I want to make sure that everybody's okay. Why does minus and minus make it plus? I'm going to just make this up. Suppose I went to the bank and I had $5 in there, right? All I have is $5. Not a lot of money. And I looked at my bank statement and they had a charge for $100. If there was a charge for $100, y'all agree that there would be a minus 100, right? When it's charging, like if I had my balance, right? If I would have looked before that, right? So if I would have looked before that, wouldn't my balance have been 405? I mean, 105, I'm sorry. And then they said, look, you charged $100. But then we found out that that was fraud, right? So they somehow hacked into my account, took $100 out. So they need to take away that charge of $100. If they're going to take away, because subtract means take away, right? If they're going to subtract, if they're going to take away that minus 100, what does that mean they're going to do? So let's think about it this way, y'all. I went to my bank the day before. I had $105. Today I have 5, and I said, look, there's a charge of $100, but I didn't make that charge, and we found out it was fraud. So they're going to take away that. How do you take away a charge? What do you do to your account? What would they have to do to my account to make me whole? They would have to add the $100 back in, and now would have 105. Doesn't take away mean subtract? So when you take away a charge, doesn't it become plus? Does that make sense? Right? That's what they're really doing. If they're taking away that charge, oh, we didn't mean to charge you this. Let's put it back in your account. What are they doing? They're really adding it back in. Okay. So again, y'all, still got some more evaluating problems here. I want you to notice this one, and we've kind of done some of this as what we were doing yesterday. But first thing I want you to notice, look at the number that I have in front of my y. What kind of number do we have in front of our y? It's a fraction. So look, y'all, we're going to write 3 over 5. Now, where the y used to be, what number am I going to plug in? Negative 20. Guys, let's write it as negative 20 over 1. Because since this piece is a fraction, I want to think of that number as a fraction as well. Okay. Now, how do we multiply fractions? We just go straight across. Anybody know what 3 times negative 20 is? Negative? Okay, with a 5, and then there's a minus 4. Let's take our calculators, y'all. Anybody know what's negative 60 divided by 5? Positive or negative? Negative 12. Very good. Minus 4. Look, y'all, I owe you $12. I borrowed 4 more. How much money do I owe you now? Negative 16. Very good. So again, all we're doing here, y'all, plugging our number in. If I have a fraction, think of my number as a fraction. One, so that you can just go straight across. Okay. All right. So the next one here, y'all, negative 2x squared for x is equal to negative 3. Okay, so look, negative 2, where the x used to be, y'all, negative 3 squared. Okay, everybody agree we should do our exponent first? Okay, look, y'all, remember what negative 3 squared means? It means negative 3 times another negative 3. My question to you, what's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9, right? Okay, but what is negative 2 times 9? And now you're done.
So for negative 2x squared, when you put in the negative 3 and the x, you don't put the squared in parentheses?
Now the square, so remember where the x was, that's where I'm putting my number, and then the parentheses goes here, and then the 2's up there. Yeah.
It's not when you put like I put negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, right? So if I put negative 3 squared though, it gives me negative.
Okay, but okay, so do it like this on your calculator. Put parentheses, negative 3, close your parentheses, and then square it. Better? Okay, so guys, I want to point something out. The gentleman right here said when we did his on his calculator, right? The calculators that you guys got the other day. I'm going to take a guess. You did this, right? Negative 3, and then you hit the little x squared button. Okay. What did we put on our negative 3 right here, guys? What did we put around it? Yeah. I got to do the same thing on my calculator. I got to put that thing in parentheses, okay? Otherwise, it's going to give me a negative 9. So even though we can still use our calculator, still do it just like the way we're writing it out, okay? Good questions, y'all. Okay, so look, we got a couple more to do. Let's go ahead and plug and chug here. So look, y'all, we have an x to the third. So where the x used to be, we're going to write a 4 to the third minus 8. Where the y used to be, we have a 5 plus 2. Okay, guys, I want to show you this because I told you all the other day, when you take your test, depending on the type of problem, your calculator might get a little bit more complex. So on your test, y'all, if you notice here, this is just my regular calculator, like I have standard, and then sometimes you might see the scientific calculator. Look, we're going to do 4 to the third. So I'm going to go parentheses 4, close it off. This little button right here, y'all, that says x to the power y, that's my exponent button. I'm going to hit that button there. If you see on the screen, do you see it has a little up arrow? That little up arrow tells me the next number you put is going to be my exponent. What's my exponent here? Let's put a 3. What's our answer? Okay, so we're going to put a 64 right here. Minus, okay, 8 times 5 is? Minus 40, okay, plus 2. Let's just go left to right. Y'all, what's 64 minus 40? 24. What's 24 plus 2? And now you're done. Does that make sense? Okay, so y'all, again, one thing I do want to mention, I do want you to know how to find that exponent button on your calculator, right? It's the little one x to the y. Okay, so look, let's do the same thing here. 3r squared plus 2s squared minus rs. Okay, so look, we're going to go 3. Where the r used to be, we're going to plug in a negative 2 plus 2. Where the s used to be, we're going to plug in a positive 2 minus r, which is negative 2 times s, which is positive 2. Okay, y'all, I'm going to use my calculator again. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, negative 2 squared. Remember, I'm going to go parentheses. Let me clear this thing. Parentheses, negative 2. Okay, I think I've got to do it this way. Close that off. Yeah, negative 2. You can see it inside my parentheses. We got to do what with it? Squared. Okay, guys, if you're going to do squared, there's actually a little square button. You can hit that. Boom. What do we get? Positive 4, right? Okay, we can do the same thing here. 2 squared. What is 2 squared anyway? 4, right? So if it helps, you can just do this. Boom. 2 squared is 4. Okay. Minus, let's multiply those together, y'all. What's a negative 2 times a positive 2? Negative 4. I'm going to put a negative 4 right here. Okay. One piece at a time. What's 3 times 4? 12. What's 2 times 4? 8. Minus and minus make it? Okay. Anybody know what's 12 plus 8 plus 4? 24. And you're done. Okay. Plug and chug, guys. Evaluate always means plug and chug, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do here, y'all, we're going to start talking about how to solve equations, okay? And so we're going to start off pretty gently. With something that we call one-step equations, and then we're going to get a little more complex. But the one thing I want to mention is that anytime it tells me to solve, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the letter x by itself, okay? I want you to look at the problem that we have here. We have x plus 7 equals 10. So I want to ask you a question. What am I doing with the x and the 7 right now? Right now we're adding, so we're going to do the opposite, right? The opposite of add is to subtract. So we're going to go minus 7 and minus 7. So you look, y'all, if I have $7 and I owe you $7, we're even, Steven. But what's 10 minus 7? 3. And you're done. You're going to ask yourself, what operation are you doing? And you're going to undo it by doing the opposite operation. So if I'm adding, I'm going to subtract. Okay. If I'm subtracting, what's the opposite of subtract? Add, right? So when I look at this one here, x minus 2, I'm going to say, look, let's put a plus 2 on both sides. Whatever I do to one side, y'all, I got to do to the other. If I owe you $2 and I have $2, we're even, Steven. Those cancel out. Negative 4 plus 2. I owe you $4 and I pay you 2. Negative 2. Okay. Now, y'all, when I say that whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other, what I want to explain about that is, here's my equation, meaning that there's an equal. So there's the stuff on the left side of the equal sign, there's the stuff on the right side of the equal sign. Y'all, when we're going to do these problems here, for the most part, what I'm going to try to do is I want to get x by itself, okay? When I have x's on both sides, for the most part, y'all, what I'm going to do, this is going to save me one small step, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to move the smaller x to the bigger x, okay? Before I do that, I got a question for y'all. Can we combine those together? Okay, so remember, 7x plus 2x is how much? Good. Remember, we don't do anything with the powers, y'all. We just combine the numbers. So 7 plus 2 is 9. Okay, which is the smaller x, the 9 or the 8? Okay, what's the sign of the 8 right now? Positive. So we're going to do the opposite, y'all. We're going to put a minus 8x on both sides. Okay. Now, let's take a look here. What's 9x's minus 8x's? How many x's would we be left with? 1x. Okay, so you guys, you can put an x, you can put a 1x. They mean the same thing. That 8x and that 8x are going to cancel out because I have 8 and I owe you 8. We're even, Steven. What number is going to drop down? Here's my equals, and you're done. Okay. 9 out of 10 times, guys, we're going to move the smaller x to the bigger x. Okay. It just makes the calculation a little bit easier to do. Okay. All right. Let's do the same thing with this next problem here. I'm going to draw my line going right down the middle of the equal sign. It just lets me know that I have two sides to the equation. Okay, so look, y'all, 2y plus 10, I can't do anything with that, so I'm going to leave it alone for right now. What is 5y minus 4y? 1y. Okay. Again, if you want to just put a y, that's fine too. I'm just writing a 1y. Y'all, which is the smaller y? The 1. Okay, what's the sign of the 1 right now? Let's do the opposite. Let's put a minus 1y here. Okay. So look, 2y minus 1y gives me a 1y plus 10. Guys, what's 1 minus 1? 0. Okay. We're almost done. We want to get the letter y by itself. If we want to get the letter y by itself, how would I get rid of this plus 10? Minus 10 on both sides. Excellent. So look, let's take a look. Those are going to cancel. I have no money, but I owe you $10. Still owe you $10, right? And now you're done. Again, y'all, when you were going through these problems, the object is always get the letter by itself, whether it's X or P or Q or N or whatever letter it happens to be, okay? All right, I'm going to do the same thing here, y'all. I'm going to draw my line going down the middle. Okay, so let's distribute that 5 here, or negative 5. Negative 5 times n is a negative 5n. Y'all, what about a negative 5 times a negative 2? Positive 10. Good. Equals 8 minus 4n. Okay, I got a question for y'all now. What number is smaller, negative 5 or negative 4? Okay, so negative 5 is actually smaller. Think about it this way, y'all. If I went to the bank and I checked my balance and I had negative 5, and you went to the bank and you checked your balance and you had negative 4, neither of us have any money, right? But I actually have less money because I got to pay the bank $5 just to get in the clear. You only got to pay them 4. So actually negative 5 is the smaller number. Remember what we said we're going to do? We're going to move the smaller letter to the bigger one. So this is a negative 5. What should I put underneath it? Very good. The opposite, right? Positive 5. Look, we're going to do that on both sides. Okay, those are going to cancel out. Let's drop down this 10 here. Here's an 8. Look, I owe you $4 and I have 5. What are we left with? 1, right? 1n. There's my 1n. Okay. Y'all, remember, I'm trying to get the letter n by itself. How would I get rid of this 8? Negative 8. Okay. 10 minus 8 is 2. And we're done. Okay. Y'all, when I tell you I'm going to move the smaller letter to the bigger letter, the reason why I do that, it saves me one step. And for some folks, that one step can be a big thing. For some folks, that one step is not a big issue at all. What I want to do over here on the side, y'all, is I'm going to write down the same problem that we had. Okay. When we did our problem right now, do y'all agree we moved the 5n over? That was our first step, was moving the 5n? Okay, bless you. I want to show y'all something. If we did this problem, and suppose you said, well, I actually thought the 4n was the smaller one. And if you were going to move the 4n, what would you put underneath it? A positive 4n, right? Okay, so we would put a positive 4n right here. Now, those would cancel out. I want you to look at this part, y'all, and be careful. What is negative 5 plus 4? Positive 1 or negative 1? Negative 1 with an n. Okay, plus 10 equals 8, right? Because if I owed you $5 and I only gave you 4, I would still owe you 1, right? Okay. Y'all, if I was still playing this game, how would I get rid of that plus 10? We'd go a minus 10 here and a minus 10 here. Okay. So we'd have a minus 1 and 8 minus 10 would be a. Okay. So I'm going to do this real quick, y'all. The operation here really is multiply, right? What's the opposite of multiply? We're going to divide by whatever number I have here. If that's a negative 1, I'm going to put in 1 over here. So those negative 1s are going to cancel. Y'all, a negative divided by a negative is a. Did we get the same answer or did we get a different answer? We got the same answer. Okay. Now, for some folks, I'm not saying this happens for everybody, but for some folks, when they have to divide by a negative, they don't. They'll put a positive 1 instead of a negative 1. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying that that's a mistake that's common. That's the reason why I'm moving the smaller letter to the bigger letter. It saves me that one step. Is my answer the same? Yeah, my answer's still the same. It doesn't matter which one you move. But if you, that's a common mistake that you end up making, then I always say just move the small letter to the bigger letter because now you're not dividing by anything that's negative. Does that make sense?
If it's negative, negative, you change the sign and do it to one side, you just do it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So it's just that some people make that mistake, but which way do you do it? It doesn't make any difference, guys. You're going to get the same answer each time as long as you follow the correct steps.
So, like, for instance, over there we did -5 plus 5, but on this one you did -1 and -1, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, I'm sorry, where I did -1. Okay, so I'm sorry, what did you say the first part?
Like, -5 plus 5, right?
Okay, so we added 5 to both sides, right?
Yeah.
Now look what we did here. We added what to both sides? We added the +4, right? The only thing is that now, remember when we did it here? Let's see, a -4 and a +5, didn't that give me a +1? But when I do it here, a -5 and a +4, that actually gives me a what? A -1. And if I'm trying to get the n by itself, I have to get rid of that -1, right? So that's why I had to divide by -1 at the end. All right. So guys, let's keep moving on here. And we got a few more problems to do. Let's see. Guys, I'm going to continue with moving the smaller letter to the bigger letter. Which is the smaller x? The 5x, right? So if it's a +5x, y'all agree we're going to put a -5x? Okay, good. So look, y'all, those 5x's are going to drop down. What am I still going to have here? -6. Excellent. Y'all, 6x minus 5x? 1x, right? Good. -5. Remember, I'm trying to get the x by itself. So y'all, if I want to get this guy by itself, how do I get rid of this -5? +5. Good. -6 plus 5 is a what? -1? Okay, and there you're done. All righty. So let's do a few more, y'all. Again, just so we get the hang of this. Because again, there is some algebra on the test, and it, how many of these problems are you going to have? Again, remember the test is adaptive, right? So let's take a look here. Y'all, on this side of the equal sign, are there any terms that we can combine? Yeah, the 8y and the -6y. So what's 8y minus 6y? But remember, we're subtracting, right? Because it's 8 minus 6, 2y, right? Good. Plus 2. Y'all, on this side, are there any things we can combine? The 3 and the -10. So look, there's a y. What's +3 minus 10? -7. Good. Okay, so guys, before we do any moving of terms, we always want to combine them first. Okay, which is the smaller y? The 2y, or think about that as a 1y? 1y. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the 1y by subtracting it on both sides. Okay, guys, I'm running out of room, so I'm going to put it over here. Let's see, 2y minus 1y is just a y. Plus 2 equals, those canceled out, but what do I still have? Okay, one last step, y'all. How do I get rid of my +2? -2. Okay, those are going to go away. -7 minus 2. I owe you $7 and I borrowed 2 more? -9, right? Good. Good. Y'all, again, when you're going through these problems and you're taking your tests, somebody asked me this yesterday. I think you asked me this yesterday is, what time does the test start? 9. What time is it over? Whenever you leave, right? So guys, remember, you have unlimited time, right? I don't mean for you to just like to do one problem and then kind of like, do this. But what I mean is take your time with it, right? I'd much rather you be the last person to leave and do well than the first one to leave and you don't, right? There's no prize for that. The prize is if you pass, right? So if you take more time, take it. All right. Let's keep moving along here, y'all. I'm going to put a line where my equal sign is over here at the end. Okay, so let's start multiplying. 3 times n? 3 times -5? Okay, So y'all, if you notice, we had a number in front of those parentheses and we multiplied it, right? Now, y'all, we have a number here, but that number really is a -1, right? So look, we're gonna do the same thing. What's -1 times 6? Excellent. Negative times a -2n? Positive 2n, okay, equals 4n. All right, y'all, I got a question for you. On that side, can we combine anything? Okay, what's 3n plus 2n? 5n, okay. What about a plus 15? I'm sorry, a minus 15 and a minus 6? -21, okay, equals 4n. All right, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing so far. Am I okay so far? Yeah? Okay. Guys, which is the smaller n? 4n. Let's move it. We're going to put a minus? Okay, we're going to put a minus. So 5 minus 4 gives me an n minus 21. 4 minus 4, y'all, is? Okay. Last step. How do I get rid of the minus 21? Plus 21. Those go away and is equal to 0 plus 21 is still? And now you're done.
Just so I'm clear, when there's a positive or a negative number in there and you want to get rid of it, you just do the opposite.
You just do the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to move something over, you're going to ask yourself, what's the sign of that number? And then undo it by doing the opposite sign. Excellent question. Okay. So let's take a look. See here, y'all. We got the next part, which is the multiplication property of equality. So her question a little while ago was, y'all, when I'm going to move something over, how do I move it over? Well, if it was being added, we're going to subtract it. If it was being subtracted, we're going to add it, right? Because we're doing the opposite operation. So the opposite of adding is subtracting, and the opposite of subtracting is adding. What I want to point out here, y'all, what do you think about the opposite operation? When I see this problem here, doesn't this really mean -5 times x equals -20? What is the operation here? Multiply. What is the opposite of multiply, though? Divide. Okay, y'all, when we divide, we are still dividing by the same number, though. I'm not changing the sign of the number because I'm doing the opposite operation, right? And the opposite operation of multiply is to divide, okay? So look, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. That's a positive x, right? Because 5 over 5 is a 1. Okay, anybody know, again, y'all agree a negative divided by a negative is a positive? How many times 5 go into 20? You're done. Okay. So if I have a number in front, it means I'm multiplying. The way I undo it is by dividing by the same number, though. Okay. So if it's negative, divide by a negative. If it's positive, divide by a positive. Okay. So look, y'all, do the same thing here. That's a times. The opposite of times is divide. So look, those threes cancel. Here's my x. How many times does 3 go into 0? But what number do we call for an n? Undefined if the bottom number would have been 0. This one here is 0, right? Yeah. So what's the operation that I have right here? What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. I'm dividing by whatever number I had right there. And I do it on both sides. So I want you to notice what we had before. We had a -20 divided by a -5, right? But a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 5 goes into 20 4 times, right? Okay, let's take a look. See here, y'all. The number in front of my x, y'all, is a negative what? Okay, so look, we're going to divide both sides by -1. Okay, first off, everybody agree a negative divided by negative is a? Okay, so that's just going to give me x. A negative divided by negative is a positive. How many times 1 go into 12? You are done. Okay. All right, Excellent, guys. Okay, now I want you to look at this next problem that I have here, y'all. What does a fraction mean I'm doing? Am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Dividing. What is the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So if we're dividing by 2 right there, y'all, excuse me, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to multiply by 2. I'm going to think of that as 2 over 1 because I have a fraction there. But we said we're multiplying by what number? 2. Okay. So look, let's do this. We're going to go real slow. What's 2 times A? What's 1 times 2? Okay. Over here, everybody agree 1 times 2 is still? Okay. Y'all, will this 2 here and that 2 there cancel out? So A equals what number? And you are done. Because what did we say the operation in a fraction means? What does a fraction mean you're doing? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Dividing, right? A fraction means you're dividing. What is the opposite of divide? Multiply. That's why I'm multiplying by 2.
No, but she means y to number 2, not why you multiplying. Like
Well, because I'm dividing by what number? So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplied by 2. Right? So remember, we're dividing, right? A fraction means we're dividing. Okay, so what number are we dividing by? 2. So the opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2, right? Remember, you're doing the opposite operation, right? You're doing the opposite operation. Look, we'll do some more like that to make sure that we're good. Okay, what number am I dividing by here? -7. So look, guys, we're going to multiply by -7 over 1 on both sides, okay? Why by -7? That's the number I'm dividing by. Okay, we're going to go slow. -7 times k, -7k. 1 times -7, -7. What's 0 times -7? 0, right? Okay, guys, you agree a negative divided negative is a positive? Okay, and these 7s are going to cancel? So k equals what number? And you're done, right? Guys, notice I'm doing one side, I'm doing the other side, right? I'm doing this side here, and I'm doing this side over here, but I'm doing the same thing. I'm multiplying by -7. The only reason I'm writing this over 1 is because I have a fraction here. So I want to think of everything as a fraction, and then we'll simplify that piece, okay? All right, let's keep moving along here and see if we can get a few more done. So look, y'all, I'm going to draw my line down here. Remember what we're trying to do? We're trying to get what letter by itself? The x. Okay, first question. How would I get rid of that -4? Add 4. Good. 16 plus 4 is 20. Excellent. Y'all, do you agree that this 2x means 2 times x? What's the opposite of times? Divide. That 2 and that 2 cancel out. 20 divided by 2? 10. And now you're done. Okay. So again, I'm still doing the same operations, right? I'm asking myself, how would I get the x by itself? How would I get rid of my -4? Add it. How would I get rid of my multiply by 2? Divide it, right? You're trying to undo the process, right? So if you subtracted 4, you're going to add 4. If you multiplied by 2, you're going to divide by 2. Okay. All right, let's draw a line going down here. Okay, first step, y'all. If it's a +2, what should I put underneath it? -2. Okay, so look, -x. What's 22 minus 2? 20. Okay, y'all, do y'all agree that's really a -1x? Okay, y'all agree I'm really multiplying right now? Because -1x means -1 times x. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. Okay, look, those are going to go away. Okay, I got a question for you. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. How many times 1 go into 20? 20 times, right? Boom. And you're done.
So the answer could never be a -x.
No, because remember, you're trying to get x by itself. So you have a negative in front of it. That really means you're multiplying it by -1. So you have to undo it by dividing by -1. Excellent question. Very good. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling along here, y'all. Okay, first thing, how would I get rid of the +3? -3. Okay, so look, let's do this. Those go away. That's a 6a. 3 minus 3, y'all, is 0. Okay, everybody agree this really means 6 times a? What's the opposite of times? Divide. Y'all, how many times does 6 go into 0? 0 times, right? Question? Or are you just stretching? Okay. I want to make sure we're good. So again, y'all, one thing I want to mention, it's okay for us to have 0 on the top. If we have 0 on the top, the answer is 0. I don't want to have 0 on the bottom. But with these problems, we shouldn't be getting 0 on the bottom. All right, let's keep moving along here. Okay, again, some more equations. Remember, we're going to move the smaller x, y'all, to the bigger x. Okay, my question to you, which is the smaller x? The 6x. Okay, let's move the 6x. What should we put underneath it? Excellent.
Wait, why are you doing that? Because I thought you said the positive numbers were going to be the one to subtract or.
Okay, isn't the sign of the 6 so positive though?
Yes, but why not the 20 or the 18? Why the 8x and the 6x?
Well, we could move the 20 or the 18 too. We're going to move the 20 and the 18. Which one do you move first or second? It doesn't make any difference. But remember, we always said we're going to move the smaller x to the what? To the bigger x. Yeah, we're going to move the smaller x to the bigger x, right? Now, give me 1 second and we'll come back and do what you're talking about right now. So look, I'm moving the smaller x over. Y'all, what's 8x minus 6x? 2x. Plus 20 equals what? 18? Okay, how would I get rid of the plus 20? Remember, if I want to get rid, remember, because I'm trying to get this guy by itself, right? So I got to move the 20 over. Okay. 2x equals 18 minus 20? -2. Y'all, do you agree that we're multiplying this by 2? Okay, so let's divide it by 2. What's -2 divided by +2? -1. Okay, so y'all, her question was, why did we start off with moving the x's instead of moving the numbers? Okay, so y'all, remember when I told you a little while ago, the reason I moved the smaller x to the bigger x is it saves me 1 step. Okay, remember what we're trying to do here, y'all. The objective is get the letter by it what? By itself. Okay, so if you were looking at this problem here, what was your first inkling to move, the 20 or the 18?
The one without the x either.
Okay, so which one do you want to move? Just give me one of them.
Do the 20.
Okay, if we're going to move the 20, minus 20 here, minus 20 here, right? Okay, 8x equals 6x. What's 18 minus 20? -2. Now, if we moved the 20, what's the other step? What should I be moving now? The x. Which one should I move, the 8 or the 6? 8 minus 6 is? Okay, what should be my last step, y'all? Same answer, different answer? What's the only difference, y'all, from what we did here first compared to what we did here first? The first time on the left side, we moved the x's. On the right side, we moved what? The numbers, right? Which one do you do first or second? Doesn't make any difference. You're going to get the same answer, right? But remember, we always want to move the smaller x to the what? To the larger one, right? So you always want to try to move your smaller XL to your bigger X, okay? Okay, let's take a look-see at the next one here. Again, I'm going to draw my line going down the middle. Okay, let's see if we can multiply it. 3 times 2XL? 6X. 3 times 5 is? Excellent. Y'all, on the right side, what is negative 18 plus 9? I owe you $18 and I only have 9. Negative 9, right? Okay. Y'all, the objective is to get what by itself? The x. So what do you think I should move here? The 15, right? If we want to get the x by itself, let's move that 15 over by subtracting it, right? Okay, now I want you to look at these two numbers. I owe you $9 and I borrow 15 more. What would you say? Negative, right? Good. Everybody agree it's negative 24? Okay. Y'all, how do we get rid of the 6? Divide by 6. Boom. And there you go. Good. Very good. All right. So I'm going to keep scrolling down here, y'all, and continue to work through each of our problems. Okay. Remember, we're trying to get the x by itself. Okay. What's 2 plus 14? 16. There we go. Okay. Can we distribute that negative 4? Okay. What's negative 4 times 3x? Negative 12x, right? Y'all, what about a negative 4 times another negative 4? Positive 16. Okay. Okay, remember, I'm trying to get the x by itself. So, y'all, if I want to get this guy by itself, how should I move this 16? By minusing it, right? Good. Okay. 16 minus 16, though, is, remember, negative 12x, y'all, really means negative 12 times x, right? Okay, what is the opposite of times? Divide. We're going to divide by the number in front of the x. Okay. So 0 divided by negative 12 is still 0, right? Good, very good. Okay. Oh man, solving more equations. Okay. Let's do a few more then. Okay, so look, y'all. Let's see. I'm going to leave this negative 4y plus 10 alone. Can we multiply that negative 2? Okay, what's negative 2 times 3y? Excellent. What about a negative 2 times a positive 1? Negative 2. Okay, so remember, y'all, I said in general, we want to try to move the smaller y to the bigger y. We always want to try to move the smaller letter to the bigger letter. What happens if you don't? You're going to have one additional step. Okay, my question to you, which y do you want to move, the negative 4 or the negative 6? Okay, so I heard two answers. I heard negative 4 and negative 6. So guys, just to give you a heads up, when it comes to negative numbers, the further are you away from 0, the smaller your number is going to be. So look, if here's 0 on my number line, negative, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Y'all agree negative 6 really is the smaller number on my number line, right? Aren't I further away from 0, right? So remember, the further away I am from 0, the smaller my number is going to be. So if I had negative 20, that's even smaller, right? If I had negative 500, even smaller all the way out there, right? Okay, the reason I say that, it saves me one step, okay? If you move the bigger one, it's not going to be a huge deal. But look, let's move the smaller one. Add 6y, because we said negative 6 was the smaller one. Okay, negative 4 plus 6, 2y. Plus 10 equals, those are going to cancel, negative 2. Okay, look where the y's are. The y's are over here. That means I want to move what number now? 10. How am I going to move that 10? Negative 10. Very good. Okay. So 2y equals, what's minus 2 minus 10? Negative 12. Okay. Look, y'all, how do we get rid of the 2? Divide by 2. And you're done. Okay. All right. Let's do a few more, and then we can move on to something different. Okay, let's take a look, see here, y'all. I'm going to move the smaller x to the bigger x. Which is the smaller x? 9. How would I move the 9, y'all? Minus 9x. Good. Minus 9x. Okay. 15 minus 9? 6x. Good. Minus 8 equals 10. Those 9x's canceled. How would I get rid of my minus 8? Plus 8. Good. 10 plus 8 is what? 18? Okay. Y'all, how do I get rid of the 6 in front of my x? Divide. Everybody agree 6 goes into 18 3 times? Okay, good. Excellent. All right. Look, y'all, we're going to go slow. 1, 2. What's negative 2 times 3? Negative 6x. Excellent. What about negative 2 times a negative 4? Positive 8 equals 2x. Y'all, I got a question for you. Which one of those x's is smaller? The negative 6, right? Because it's negative, the other one is 2, positive, right? So negative 6 is smaller than positive 2. Because remember, if we went to the bank and you said, I only have $2, and my bank said you owe 6, you might not have a lot of money, but you got more money than me, right? Okay, so we're going to move the smaller x. How would I move the negative 6? Add 6. Good. Those are going to cancel. 8 equals 2x, and 6x is 8x. How do I solve for x, y'all? What's my last step? Divide by 8. Okay. And 8 goes into 8? What, one time? Okay. All right. I'm just trying to see where we are, guys, in regards to our problems. Okay. Let's come back here. Okay, let's finish these up. All righty. Let's see. 5 times 2? 10x. 5 times 1? What? Minus 5? Okay. Y'all, negative 2 times 3x? Okay, equals 1, right? Okay. Question. Can we combine these guys together? Okay. What's 10x minus 6x? 4x, right? 4x, let's do minus 5 equals 1. Okay. Y'all, how do I get rid of the minus 5? Plus 5. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, 4x equals, what's 1 plus 5? 6. Okay, what's my last step here, y'all? Divide by 4. Okay, I got a question for you. Can we reduce that fraction? By 2, right? What's half of 6? What's half of 4? And you are done. Y'all, one thing I want to mention in doing these problems here, if you do end up with a fraction in your answer, I don't want you to get nervous and say, oh man, I did something wrong. Sometimes a fraction is what we get, okay? So y'all, for the sake of time, I'm going to skip this one here, but I want to get to, hold on, I want to get to these here. I'm just going to skip these next two again, just for the sake of time. I want us to make sure that we can cover everything, and I think we've done quite a few of these types of problems here already. But I want you to notice what we have here. What's the first thing you notice about this problem? Fractions. Okay. So guys, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to look at all the numbers on the bottom. The nice thing about this problem is all the numbers on the bottom are what? They're all the same, right? They're all 3. Okay. So number 1, y'all, we're going to find our least common denominator. In this case, it's 3. Okay. Number 2, y'all, we're going to multiply by,
What's number one?
find the LCD. Sorry. We're going to find the least common denominator. Number 2 is we're going to multiply by that number. Okay, so in this case, y'all, my common denominator is 3. How do I know that? That's the only number I have on the bottom. Okay, now this is what we're going to do, y'all. We're going to put brackets around this guy. And we're going to multiply it by 3, but I'm going to think of that 3 as 3 over what? Over 1. Okay, now, why over 1? Because I'm have fractions. I need to think of everything as a fraction. Now, how do I multiply fractions, y'all? We go straight across. So what's 3 times 2? 6. Do you see how there's an x here? I'm going to put an x right next to it. What's 3 times 4? 12. There's no x, so I'm not putting an x. What's 3 times, let me think of that as a negative 2. What's 3 times negative 2? Negative 6. Okay, now we did the top numbers, y'all. Let's do the bottom numbers. What's 1 times 3? 3. What's 1 times 3 again? What's 1 times 3 one more time? Okay, if we did this right, all of our fractions are going to go away. 6 divided by 3? 12 divided by 3? 4. Negative 6 divided by 3? Okay, guys, do me a favor. Look at this problem here. Does this problem look easier to solve? Okay, if I wanted to solve that problem for x, what would be my first step? Minus 4? Subtract 4 because it's minus, right? It's plus, I'm sorry. What's minus 2 minus 4? Minus 6. Okay, what's my last step? Divide by 2. And now you're done. Okay. Now, we're going to find our common denominator, and we're going to multiply by that number over 1. So, y'all, I'm going to scroll to this problem here, and this is what I want us to do. I'm going to look at this problem here. The first thing I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to think of everything as a fraction by writing that as 1 over 1. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want us to figure out how do we find our common denominator. Okay. So I want you to look at the numbers that I have on the bottom. One of the numbers is 4. One of the numbers is 2. One of the numbers is 1. Okay. Look at my multiplication table. Okay, let me zoom in here. Okay, I'm looking at 1, 2, and 4. What I want you to do, y'all, whether you look at 1, 2, and 4 here or 1, 2, and 4 here, go to the right, go to the right, go to the right. What's the first number they all have in common? 4. Y'all agree? 4, 4, and 4? Okay, those are the numbers they all have in common. That's the number we're going to multiply everything by. That's how I find my common denominator. I'm going to write this, y'all, as 4 over 1. Okay? And I'm going to go through really, really slowly here. What's 4 times 3? 12. There's an x next to it, y'all, so I'm going to put an x. What's 4 times 1? Yeah, or negative 1. Negative 4, right? And then what's 4 times 1 again? 4. Okay, let's do the bottom parts, y'all. What's 1 times 4? What's 1 times 2? What's 1 times 1? Okay. If we did this right, y'all, the fractions are going to go away. 12 divided by 4? 4 divided by 2? Minus 2? Negative 2, right? 4 divided by 1? There you go. Does that problem look easier to do? Okay. Guys, how would I get rid of the minus 2? Okay. What's 4 plus 2? 6. Okay, last step is to divide by 3. And 3 goes into 6? 2 times, right? Boom, and we're done. Okay. Are we good? Okay. Guys, I'm going to come back and do this problem in a minute. I want to do the next, these 1, 2, 3, and then we'll come back to that other one. Okay. So look, let's do this one here. Okay. We'll come back. We'll do the other one in a minute, y'all. Okay. Let's do this. Can I think of this over 1 and that over 1? Okay. So guys, I want to think of everything as a fraction. Now notice what numbers I have on the bottom. I have 1 and I have what else? 6. Those are the only numbers. I know they repeat, but there's still 1 and 6. Come back to my table here. Here's 1. Here's 6. Go to the right. 6. Everybody agree 6 is my common denominator? Okay. Anybody have trouble how we got the 6? Okay. Let's come back here. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because I'm looking at the 1 and I'm looking at the what? And the 6, right? And now whether I go to the right or whether I go up and down, it's still going to be the 6, right? Excellent question. Okay, look, y'all, let's go through slowly, one piece at a time. What's 6 times x? 6x. What's 6 times a 7? Anybody know? 42. Equals, what's 6 times 2? 12x. Minus, because there's a minus there. You can think about a negative you want. 6 times negative 7? Negative 42. Okay, look, y'all, we're going to do the bottom parts now. 1 times 1? 1 times 6? 1 times 1? 1 times 6? Okay, if we did this right, y'all, all of our fractions are going to go away. 6 divided by 1? With an x. 42 divided by 6? 7. 12 divided by 1? Still 12, right? Minus 42 divided by 6? Negative 7. Okay. Look, y'all, no more fractions, right? Doesn't mean I'm not going to get a fraction in my answer, but I don't have any more fractions in my actual problem. Okay. Which one do we move? The 6, right? We're always going to move the smaller one to the bigger one. Excellent. Good. So you guys are agreeing I'm going to put a minus 6x here and a minus 6x there? Okay, so look, those 6x's will cancel. 7 equals 12 minus 6. 6x, right? Minus 7. Okay, we're almost done. Y'all, notice where my x's are. My x's are on the right side, right? My x is over here. So I want to move what number? The 7, right? How am I going to move that minus 7? Add it. We're going to add them and Eve. Good. Those 7s are going to cancel. Y'all, 7 and 7 over here. 14 equals 6x. Okay, we're almost done. One more step. How do I get rid of the 6? Very good. Divide it. Okay, I got a question for you. Do you all think we can reduce that fraction? We can at least divide them by how much? By 2. Half of 14 and half of 6 is? And you are done. Okay.
Why wouldn't you divide it? Why wouldn't you divide the 6 to get this?
Okay, so guys, his question is, why don't we divide it out? The reason why we don't is look what happens when I divide it by 6. You see how all the 3's we get? Now we have to make the decision to round. So what I want to tell you is, remember how the test is going to be multiple choice? Okay. If the problem tells you to round, then go ahead and divide anything out. But if it doesn't tell you to round, then it's going to be the fraction just reduced. That's a very good question. So guys, I don't know if you heard, but his question was, why didn't we just take our calculator and divide it out? When we do, we get that a whole bunch of 3's. If the problem tells you to solve it and then round it to a particular number, then that's fine to do. Hello?
I'm so sorry to bother you. I know Region 1 brought these for...
Do you know what it is?
They're booklets.
Okay, yeah, you can just hear. I'll get them to him in a minute.
Okay, well, if you want, because I need to see who has gotten it, because I have the list, so I can highlight them.
Okay.
But if nobody has gotten the calculator...
Yeah, they all have their calculators already.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, yeah, I got one right here for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got one for you right here.
Okay, well, at the end, they can stop by my office and they can pick it up. It's to help them guide.
Are you here on the second floor?
The first floor.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss Cynthia's on the second floor.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll send them your way.
Thank you. I'll send you my room number.
Okay, appreciate it. So guys, I got some pamphlets or something like that for you. I do have your calculator right here, so I'll get it for you in a second. But guys, his question, why didn't we divide it out? Again, if the problem tells you to round, go ahead and divide it out. If it doesn't tell you to round, again, remember the tests are going to be multiple choice, y'all. So if you were to divide it out, you see 2.3, but that's not one of your choices, and all your choices are fractions, just know that, okay, I need to reduce my fraction, okay? All right, so look, y'all, again, I want to continue with these fraction problems, and we'll take a break in a minute, y'all. So look, let's think of this over 1, and let's think of this over 1. Okay, so look, y'all, I'm going to look at 3 numbers. I'm going to look at 2, 1, and 5. Okay, 1, 2, and 5. If I go down, what's the first number they all have in common? 10. Everybody agree? All I got to do is look at it, right? It's right there in front of me. So 10. 10 is going to be my common denominator. So look, y'all, we're going to come back here, and we're going to go 10 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, so let's go through slowly. First question, what's 10 times x? Good. 10 times a negative 1? Negative 10. Equals, very good. 10 times x again? Plus 10 times 2? You guys are doing great. Let's do the bottom part, y'all. What's 1 times 2? What's 1 times 1? What's 1 times 5? What's 1 times 1? There you go. Okay, now, again, y'all, if we did this right, all of my fractions are going to go away. Okay. 10 divided by 2? With an x. 10 divided by 1? Minus? Because there's a minus here? Okay, good. Minus 10. Good. Just checking. 10 divided by 5, y'all? 2 with an x. 20 divided by 1? 20. Okay. All right, let's take a look, y'all. Remember, we're going to move the smaller x to the bigger x. Which is the smaller x? The 2x. How do we move the 2x? Subtract it. Good. Put a minus underneath it. Perfect. Look, those 2 x's are going to go away. We're subtracting here, right? What's 5 minus 2? 3x. Good. Minus 10 equals 20. Remember, we want to get the x by itself, right? How do I get rid of the minus 10, y'all? Plus 10? Good. Okay. So 3x equals 20 plus 10 is? What's the last step? Divide by 3. So guys, remember, our last step is going to be to divide. And everybody agree we get x equals 10? There you go. Okay. All right. So guys, what I'm hoping is that, yeah, looking at these problems with the fractions, once you find your common denominator, you multiply everything by that number, the problem gets much easier than what it looks like, right? Okay, so I'll send you guys down there in a minute, y'all, so you can get whatever that little pamphlet is, okay? Okay, so guys, look, let's do this one here. We'll come back and do that one that I left on the top, and then we'll take a little break because the next part, we're going to have our full brain capacity to do these, okay? All right, let's take a look here, y'all. I'm going to think of this as being over 1. Okay, so I want to notice something. 4, 1, 2, 12, and 6. Okay, oops. I want to look at those numbers. 4, 1, 2, 12, and 6. Let me get my multiplication table. 1, 2, 4, 6, and 12. What do you think the first number they all have in common is, y'all? Everybody agree 12? Okay. Okay, we're going to go real slow. Y'all, first question. What's 12 times 3? 36. Y'all agree with an x? Okay. 12 times a negative 1? Negative 12. 12 times a positive 1 with an x? 12x. Equals 12 times positive 5 with an x? Anyone know 12 times 5? 60. Good. With an x? Okay. And one last time. 12 times 1? Okay. Let's do the bottom part, y'all. What's 1 times 4? 1 times 1? 1. 1 times 2? 1 times 12? And 1 times 6? Okay. So far, we all good? Okay. look, let's take a look-see here, y'all. We're going to go slow. Let's take a look. What's 36 divided by 4 with an x, right? 12 divided by 1 or minus 12 divided by 1 is a minus 12. Okay. What's 12x divided by 2? 6x, right? Okay. Y'all, you got your calculators? What's 60 divided by 12 with an x? And 12 divided by 6? There you go. Again, notice y'all, all my fractions went away. Okay, look, here's my line. Can we combine those guys together? Okay, what's 9x plus 6x? 15x. Okay, minus 12 equals, let's see, 5x plus 2. All right, remember what we said we're going to do? We're going to move the smaller x to the bigger one, right? Okay, so what's the smaller x here, y'all? Everybody agree minus 5x? Minus 5x, okay. 15 minus 5 is 10x. Minus 12 equals 2. Okay, we're almost done. Add 12. Okay. Okay. Y'all, what's 12 plus 2? 14, right? Last step is to divide by 10. Can we simplify it? How much can we divide it by? Yeah, we can divide it by 2 and we get 7 over 5 and perfect, y'all. Guys, let me ask you a question. About 15 minutes ago, when we first started doing the problems of the fractions, did they look intimidating? Less? Less now? Less intimidating? Okay. Look, let's do that last problem that I skipped, and then we'll take a break, y'all, because we kind of did a lot already. I know it's not 11 yet, but we kind of did a lot. Right? You guys feel like we've done a lot already? Okay. Okay, so let's finish up this one here, and then we'll take our break, okay? All right. Let's do this, y'all. Can I think of this guy here being over 1 and this guy being over 1? Okay. I want you to think about this as one real big fraction, okay? Just think about it as one big fraction. Look at my numbers that I'm looking at on the bottom. 4, 1, and 1. So here's 1, here's 4. Y'all agree the first number they have in common is 4. Okay. So we're going to go like this. 4 over 1. Okay. Now, y'all, this is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go 4. I'm just going to multiply by that 2 because that 2 is in front of everything. What's 4 times 2? 8. So look, we have 8, x plus 1. Okay. 4 times 3x, 12x. Minus, because there's a minus there, 4 times 2, 8. Okay. Now, let's do the bottom piece. What's 1 times 4? 4. What's 1 times 1? 1. What's 1 times 1 again? Okay. All right. Now, there's a couple of things we can do on the left-hand side. Okay. What I mean by the left-hand side, y'all, this piece over here. One thing we can do is we can say, look, does 4 go into 8? So can I cancel this like that and put a 2 there? Would that be okay with you guys? Because 4 goes into 8 twice? Okay. On this side here, 12x divided by 1, isn't that just a 12x? And 8 divided by 1, isn't that just an 8? Okay. What do you think we need to do with this 2 if it's in front of that x plus 1? Okay. What's 2 times x? What's 2 times 1? Okay. Let me ask you another question. What's the smaller x here? The 2. So if we're going to move the 2x, how do I move the 2x? Subtract it. Good. Okay. So that's a 2 equals, what's 12x minus 2x, so? 10x, okay, minus 8. Okay, I'm just going to write this over here on the side because I ran out of room. 2 equals 10x minus 8. Here's my line. Okay, if I want to get the x by itself, how would I get rid of the minus 8? Add 8, okay. So 2 and 8 is 10 equals 10x. How do I solve for x? What's my last step, y'all? Divide by 10, divide by 10, and we get x is equal to and now you're done. Okay. All right. So guys, let's do this real quick. Let me go ahead and stop recording. We'll take a little break. Let's see.